grab this.
Okay, it's just... We're just recording from now. We can cut out later.
Okay, we're recording now. We can cut out whenever. Okay. So I covered the journalism. I covered World War I. Okay. Okay. So... basically, until the age of 7. Basically, until the age of 7, Ernest's mother, Grace, raised him as a girl and taught him that his sister, who was 18 months older than him, was his twin sister. Which is pretty kind of screwed up, but again, in the turn of the 19th century, it was not unheard of. They were okay, so the kids were given the same haircut, they would dress the same, like Grace, his mom, would put him and Marceline is his sister, in the same clothes. She held Marceline back a year in school, so it would be like more apparent that they were twins, which is just kind of fucked up, because if you think about it, if you're raised as a child, and if I was raised as a male child, I'd probably have some big issues going on right now. Like, I'd probably, like, I don't know, but it's crazy. But they were only 18 months apart, and she started dressing them and raising them as girls. Again, at the turn of the 19th century, it wasn't a big deal for little boys to be dressed as girls because of
just the way things were.
Okay. Again, at the 19th century, it wasn't a big deal for little boys to be dressed as little girls because of Lord Fauntleroy, which was apparently a novel and was pretty messed up, and was it wasn't messed up, it was about just transgender people, and it was before that was accepted widely, like it has been within the last year since fucking Caitlyn Jenner, because she's just a great person, isn't she? She's wonderful. No, she does not speak for all trans people. We are putting that in the movie. She does not. Caitlyn Jenner does not speak for all trans people. She is a bitch and a cunt. Okay.
You know what you should do there?
Huh.
Just have like me or Matt in a fucking wig and just like
in a white dress. Okay. Okay. But, like, okay, so what Grace did, what Ernest Hemingway's mother did, was, like, so out there and so crazy that, yeah, she dressed him as a little girl, which as many mothers did. But she took it to the extreme, where she would tell him that he was a girl and that his anatomy was like a girl's, and that's how girls were made. And so that kind of messed up Hemingway in some ways, which how could it not? But let's jump ahead. We gotta cover some of his fucking writing.
That's what he's saying this for.
Okay, so like we talked about in the war, World War I, Hemingway got injured by a mortar fire and saved an Italian soldier who was basically half alive, and dragged him to safety and was awarded an Italian Medal of Valor, which is fucking awesome because, I mean, like, you don't just take the other side's guy and just, like, bring him to safety. Okay. So, while he was recuperating in this hospital, there was this nurse, Agnes von Krowski. And she was, I believe she was 24. She was 8 years his senior. He was 17 or 18. And she took him in and she cared for him. And he got that feeling like, you know, like she's going to care for me. She's going to take care of me. And he's like, okay, you want to get married? And she's like, yeah, okay. And then, like, a month later, she was like, you know, now that we're back in the United States, I don't really want to get married. There's this other guy that I really enjoy, and he's a lot nicer than you, and he doesn't kill lions, and I love lions, is what she told him. So he was heartbroken, and he wrote a farewell to arms, kind of dedicated to her, not really dedicated, but more so about her, and it was about the disillusionment of a World War I vet and his involvement and his desertion of the war. But again, we covered that because he wasn't a deserter, he just got hurt, and he is human, and that's okay. Let's see. Hemingway had this really pathological thing that I don't know how to even explain it, but he had this really weird pathological disorder where he would marry one woman and it would be fine for a couple of months or maybe a couple of years or whatever as time went on, but he would always have one on the back burner. So he was married 4 times and divorced 3. He did die married because I think he kind of knew what was coming to him. Again, that's just me thinking what I think. But his first wife was Elizabeth Hadley, and they had their son. Okay.
Freeze frame.
John, Gregory, Gloria. Okay. So between 4 wives, I'm going to start this one over. So between 4 wives, he had 4 children. And the first one was with Elizabeth Hadley, and his name was John. With the second one, it was Gregory, and then with the third one, it was with Mary, and I forget his name, but he was a great person. However, Gregory would be called by Ernest Jig, and kind of like weirdly enough, like Gregory became old enough and realized that he was transgender. He wanted to be a cross-dresser, and he went by Gloria. That, like, just pissed off Hemingway. Like, that just got him because he was raised as a girl, but he was a man, and he knew he was a man. And for his son to make a choice that he would rather be a woman than a man just ripped him apart and was just nuts. Okay. So his first wife was Elizabeth. His first girlfriend that he asked to marry him was Agnes. He was then married to Martha and then Mary. So he died with Mary. Mary basically kind of told everyone that he shot himself when he did. Okay. So when Hemingway wasn't writing, he was a big fisherman and a big hunter. And he would go to like Africa and hunt big game, like lions and tigers, and not pandas, because pandas aren't in Africa, they're in Asia. So thank God he never went to Asia.
Did he hunt bears? Oh my.
Oh my. And well, he was reporting for the Spanish Civil War. In 1937, he met Martha, who was his second wife. It was his second wife. And she was also a correspondent for the war. She was a journalist. He had a thing for journalists. He had a thing for women who did what he did, but they did it better than him. So he would probably divorce them because they did it better than him. So Martha and Mary were both correspondents in the war, and they were really good at it. And he was too. He just maybe wasn't as good. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to talk about now is like his biggest accomplishment was The Old Man and the Sea, okay? And The Old Man and the Sea wasn't what you think it was. It wasn't like, yes, the story is this man is hunting for this fish and he can't find it and finally he dies. Okay, well, it's more than that. It's cut.